traffic load, flying time 3 hours 30 minutes, fuel consumption rate 1500 kilogram per hour, reserve fuel 45 minutes, restricted takeoff mass 45,000, DOM is 37,525. Okay? So we have to find traffic load. Now formula is regulated takeoff mass equals to fuel on board or takeoff fuel plus payload or traffic load plus dry operating mass. Now in this question we have to find payload. So we will readjust this equation. Payload equals to regulated takeoff mass minus fuel on board plus dry operating mass. Right? So what is regulated takeoff mass? 45,000. Dry operating mass 37,525 plus fuel on board. Now, the flight time is 3 hours 30 minutes. Fuel consumption rate is 1500 kilogram per hour. So for 3 hours, flight fuel or trip fuel will be equal to flight time, the duration your flight is going to last, multiplied by the fuel consumption rate. So 3 hours 30 minutes, 3.5 multiplied by 1500. Okay. So 3.5 into 1500 is 5250, 5050 kilograms. Now flight fuel is 5250 kg. So add that. Plus reserve fuel. Reserve fuel is for 45 minutes. So reserve fuel will be, now fuel on board will be inclusive of your trip fuel, reserve fuel, contingency fuel, alternate fuel, all kinds of fuel, right? So we are going to add reserve fuel also. So reserve fuel is 45 minutes. So convert that into hours. 45 divided by 60 multiplied by fuel consumption of 1500 kilogram per hour. 45 into 1500 divided by 60 is 1125. So I'm going to also add reserve fuel here, 1125. Next, 45,000 minus 37,525 plus 5250 plus 1125, 43,900. Okay. So 45,000 minus 43,900 is 1,100 kg. Okay, so the payload that you can carry on this aircraft is 1,100 kg. So option A is the right option. Next, maximum structural takeoff mass 82,000 pounds, structural landing mass 64,500 pounds, DOM 50,000. Fuel or flight fuel or trip fuel is 16,000. Calculate payload if aircraft is to use 700 pounds of reserve fuel after reaching destination. Okay. So in addition to the 16,000 pounds of flight fuel, you are going to use another or extra 700 pounds of fuel, which is reserved for reserve fuel. Okay. Which is meant for reserve fuel. Now total reserve fuel is 1,500 pounds. Out of this 1,500 pounds, you are going to use or consume 700 pounds for the purpose of your flight. Okay. So we have to find payload. So let's start doing this equation. So right. So step one, takeoff mass column, and the second column will be the landing mass column. In the takeoff mass column, we are going to write the maximum structural takeoff mass value, which is 82,000. So just write 82. In the landing mass column, we are going to write maximum structural landing mass, okay, plus trip fuel plus trip fuel. So structural landing mass is 64.5. Fuel is 16,000. So add that, and you are going to add another 700 pounds. So 0.7. So 64.5 plus 16 plus 0.7 is 81.2. So now we have two possible takeoff mass values, 82 and 81.2. You're going to select that takeoff mass value, which is the lower one. So, and that becomes your regulated takeoff mass. So over here, 81.2 or 81,200 pounds is the lower quantity. So that becomes your regulated takeoff mass. Now step number 2, use the formula. What is the formula? Regulated takeoff mass equals to payload plus dry operating mass plus fuel on board. Okay. So 81.2 equals to payload plus dry operating mass 50,000. So 50 fuel on board. Now fuel on board is your takeoff fuel. So it will be fuel on board will be your trip fuel plus reserve fuel. Okay. Now trip fuel is 16,000. Reserve fuel is 1,500. 16,000 plus 1,500 is 17,500 pounds. Okay. So let's write here 17,500 or 17.5. So payload will be equal to 81.2 minus 50 plus 17.5, that is 67.5. So 81.2 minus 67.5 is 13.7 or 13,700 pounds. So the payload will be equal to 13,700. Option Charlie. Okay. Next, if neutrally stable aircraft or in a neutrally stable aircraft, the center of gravity is located where? At or very near the aerodynamic center, too far aft of the aerodynamic center, too far forward of the aerodynamic center. So neutrally stable. So what is a neutral? What is neutral stability? Neutral static stability results in a balanced equilibrium by maintaining the attitude after the disturbance. Okay. So over here you're flying straight and level, some kind of disturbance. For example, let's say updrafts. Okay. Pushes your aircraft or makes your aircraft deviate from its original flight path, and this is your new position. Okay, so no restoring balances to maintain the nose of pitch attitude. So your aircraft won't come back to its original position. Okay, which is this. Okay, in line with this, it will continue. It will continue its flight in this new position. Okay, so that is neutral stability, and aerodynamic center is the point around which there is no change in moment due to a change in the angle of attack. So these are the definitions. Remember, the answer to this question is the CG will always be somewhere near the aerodynamic center. Next, structural integrity of wing root will be adversely, that means negatively affected by what? Now, structural integrity means structural strength, structural capability of your wing root. What is wing root? So, wing root is the place where the wings of your aircraft, let's say this is the fuselage of your aircraft, and these are the wings. Okay, so wing root is the place where the wings are in touch with the fuselage of your aircraft. Okay, so structural integrity of wing root will be adversely affected by adding fuel to maximum zero fuel mass, increasing the number of fasteners, that means screws, bolts, at the wing root, exceeding maximum authorized mass including fuel. Now, Your aircraft has maximum zero fuel mass. That means the maximum mass or the maximum load that uh, the maximum load that you can install in this aircraft, excluding usable fuel. That means maximum zero fuel mass talks about the maximum payload that can go in this aircraft. Okay, and once payload is included in this aircraft, we add fuel. The fuel is added in the fuel tanks, right? Now, whenever you add payload in this to this aircraft, all the lifting of this aircraft will be done by the wings of this aircraft. So all the loads, all the stress will be imposed on the wings of this aircraft. They have to do the work of carrying the fuel, and now the fuel that they carry will progressively get consumed as you proceed from point A to point B. But the payload that is situated in the fuselage of this aircraft won't change. It won't vary. It will stay constant from the beginning of the flight to the end of it, right? So there is a limit up to which you can fill this aircraft with maximum payload. Okay, if you cross that maximum capacity or maximum limit imposed by the manufacturer, you will impose unbearable or excessive loads on the wings of this aircraft, because they have to carry the wings of this aircraft will have to carry the fuselage in the air, in the atmosphere. Okay, so any crossing of the limit, maximum limit, will have adverse effect, negative effects on the wing roots of this aircraft. All the load will be imposed on the wing roots. Okay. So the correct answer here is option Charlie. Exceeding maximum authorized mass, including fuel. So exceeding maximum authorized limit with respect to the payload, exceeding maximum authorized limit with respect to fuel. Both of these things must be kept in mind. Okay, if you want to carry maximum payload, you will have to decrease the amount of fuel that you are carrying in your wing tanks. If you want to limit the payload that you are carrying, then in that case you can add more and more fuel in the fuel tanks. Okay, so it's a give and take. It's a compensation thing. So payload, if you want to increase payload, decrease the fuel. Okay, but if you increase both of them together, it will definitely add very bad or excessive loads on the wings. So remember that. That's why we have the concept of maximum zero fuel mass. So without fuel, up to what limit can you fill this aircraft with payload or traffic load? That is passengers, passenger baggage, cargo, non-revenue generating cargo, etc. Next, question number 75. Calculate total fuel required for a turbojet aircraft. Thrust, specific fuel consumption, okay, and flight time is given. So formula is total fuel equals to thrust multiplied by specific fuel consumption multiplied by flight time. The thrust is 80, specific fuel consumption is 0.6, flight time is 30 minutes. Convert this minutes into seconds. Okay, so 30 minutes. 1 minute equals to 60 seconds. So 30 minutes will be 30 into 60 seconds. 80 into 0.6 into 30 into 60. So that is 86,400, okay, kilogram. So correct answer is option Bravo. Okay, so this is the formula. Remember, with this we come to the end of this lecture, and I hope you have understood all the 5 questions I have answered in this video lecture. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment box. Thank you for your time.